Welcome to the 9th tape in the Instructor Series. I'm your host, Ed Hutchison. Thanks for joining me. The first principle is objective, and that the time the fight initiates is no time to decide what force is required. You'll be busy with other duties and activities. You may have seen police movies or TV shows where officers are taught to shoot to wound. Or perhaps they're on the SWAT team and they're taught to shoot to kill. In reality, policemen are taught to shoot to stop, in that they are required to use no more force necessary than what it takes to stop the objectionable activity. In much the same way, the objective of combat, from the Dragon Kenpo perspective, is to stop the activity. Many students of Dragon Kenpo are police officers, but for those who are not, you're not carrying a restraining device like handcuffs. You're not carrying a non-lethal weapon like an aluminum baton. And therefore, your only option is to disable the attacker to prevent them from carrying out their aggression. Teaching your students to prepare themselves mentally so that they understand the objective of fighting to stop prior to an encounter will allow them an advantage when the time comes to defend themselves. The second principle is to constantly improve the factors under your control. Those factors are your ability, your instinct, your determination, your physical condition, your efficiency, adaptability, and experience. By constantly improve, I mean a personal commitment to never-ending improvement. Every activity should have a goal. The goal is to perform better, faster, quicker, smarter than the last time. Your ability is determined by the amount and quality of your practice. Every practice session should have a goal. Every movement should be practiced with its application in mind. Visualizing the attacker, feeling the adrenaline, getting in touch with your emotional content. Aimless or needless repetition should be avoided. Your instinct is an intangible quality, but it gives you the edge in decision-making. Your instinct is the sum of information collected by your senses that is not readily obvious to your conscious mind. It produces a feeling that something is right or something is wrong without a logical explanation. When you are uncertain what to do next or how to handle an opponent, rely on your instinct. The more experience you have, the more quickly instinct will come to you. By determination, we mean that determination plays a large role in combat. When physical skills are similar, the winner is always decided by guts. Whoever is able to fight harder and resist longer is the winner. To build mental and physical stamina, train with feelings, and train up to the point and beyond fatigue and discomfort. Like skill development, physical conditioning requires regular, focused practice. Set a workout schedule that is suitable for your training goals, and include exercises for endurance, timing, strength, speed, and reflexes in your regular workouts. Set long and short-term fitness goals, and track your progress. Being efficient is important in any physical activity. Your body has a limited supply of energy to burn at any given time. Using it wisely is of the utmost importance to enable you to engage in prolonged or strenuous activity. If both you and your opponent have a similar amount of energy to expend during a confrontation, the one who uses it efficiently will be the one who delivers the final strike. Being able to adapt to the flow of a confrontation is essential. Adaptation means assessing your needs and selecting the correct and necessary action for fulfilling them. Without adaptation, you may become a victim of your own strategy. Strategy is very transparent, and a skilled fighter quickly assesses and counters his opponent. Emphasize variety in your training. Experiment with variations of your favorite techniques. Don't become stale. There is only one way to gain experience, and that is to practice repeatedly. It's fine to practice with friends, and if you do, experiment with a variety of opponent types and styles to test the validity of your skills and discover new approaches. The more experience you gain, the more insightful you become. The development of these principles directly and dramatically affects your fighting skills. Before you can win over an opponent, you have to master your own body and mind. Going into combat knowing you are fully prepared and in top condition means you may confidently approach an opponent, and your chances of defeating him are much greater. The next principle is to stay on offense. The best method of attacking is to use a direct attack from the beginning of the confrontation. When you see an opening, attack. This is the most basic principle of combat. It is also the most bold and risky. A direct attack prevents your opponent from studying you and preparing a counter. Once you initiate a direct attack, do not allow any chance for recovery. Continue attacking until you finish the fight. The direct attack is used to stun the opponent into inaction and create openings to finish him. The best time for a direct attack is before the opponent has a chance to launch his preferred offense. When he is planning to attack, hesitating, or trying to figure you out, take action immediately to prevent him from gaining the initiative. The direct attack is executed swiftly and economically. It takes the shortest, most direct path to the target, without extraneous movements. Successful execution requires superior speed, agility, and complete focus to penetrate the opponent's defense without being blocked. There are stages in the advancing action of a direct attack. The first is preparation. You should be relaxed, but poised, ready to spring. The second is initiation, and you initiate with explosive speed. The third is acceleration. You speed up smoothly. The fourth is impact. You land your strike with total concentration of power. The fifth is follow-through. You release the force and let it flow beyond the surface of the target. The sixth is withdrawal. Natural mechanics return the weapon to its original place, and you rechamber for the next strike. 7. Recovery. Return to your ready stance. Each of these steps takes place in a split second or less. When you practice any attacking movement, be conscious of each step as it applies to the technique. Be totally involved in each phase of the action as it occurs without hurrying or skipping ahead. To practice a right forward thrust kick or direct attack, first relax the muscles of your leg and torso. And then focus on your hips to create the initiation speed necessary. Accelerate by throwing your knee, followed by your foot to the target. Upon impact, focus all of your power into your foot for maximum effect. Follow through with your knee and hip to release the power generated by your turning movement. When the force has been transferred to the target, allow your knee to snap your foot back to the chamber position, and then return to a strong stance with your guard up, ready for the next attack. This is the sequence of the perfect forward thrust kick. As you can see, there are many factors involved in the kick besides the obvious action of the leg. To achieve optimum force and speed, the hips, knee, and foot are the focus of the kick at different stages of the action. As you practice attacking, determine the specific part of the body that is the focus of each stage of action. Work slowly through the movement until you execute each segment automatically. The keys to your practice are speed, agility, and focus. Before you initiate a direct attack in combat, there are 3 factors to check. First, measure the distance you must cover to attack effectively. Second, you have to judge the type of opening presented and select the attack that best fits the opening. Third, you have to estimate the possible responses of the opponent based on the actions he has used up until this point. Is he a counterattacker or a retreater? Prepare accordingly. Finally, when you have gathered the necessary information, attack according to your instinct and without hesitation. Instinct is not as vague as you might suspect. It is actually a summary of the intangible observations your subconscious is making about your surroundings. The actions of your opponent send many signals that you are not consciously aware of, but which affect your feeling about the opponent. If you feel confident in attacking, you are picking up signals that your opponent is vulnerable. If you feel hesitant, perhaps it is better for you to look more closely at what your opponent's actions are telling you. Rely on instinct when you have difficulty deciding what course of action to take. If you miss the chance to attack first, and your reflexes are quick, you can still use a direct attack. As soon as the opponent begins his attack, attack any available opening. The attack needs to be simultaneous with your opponent's, or just a split second after. This is called a simultaneous direct attack. Simultaneous attacking requires a good sense of combat, being able to spot the opponent's first signal of an upcoming attack. It also requires excellent reflexes and confidence in your ability. To attack an advancing opponent takes guts, and it takes skill. Practice for simultaneous and direct attacks with the determination of a hungry animal chasing its prey. When an animal senses a kill for food, it has no fear, only a single goal of getting the food. First, practice simultaneous attacking with only the goal of contacting the opponent in mind. Once you are able to make contact with an attacking partner, practice refining each technique. Learn how to spot the start of an attack and how to find openings quickly according to the type of attack. Constantly work to overcome the natural apprehension that results from impending physical threat. When an opponent becomes the victim of your direct or simultaneous attack, he will be hesitant to attack again. Use direct attacks to psychologically, as well as physically, defeat your opponent. The next type of offense is an indirect attack. An indirect attack is safer and more intricate than a direct or simultaneous attack. If a direct attack is the first dimension of combat, then an indirect attack is the second. In a direct attack, you are the obvious initiator. In an indirect attack, you are the covert initiator. Indirect attacking is not reacting to an opponent, as in counterattacking. It is making the opponent react to you, and then taking advantage of his response. You create an opening, and then attack it. There are three common types of indirect attacks: the feint, the draw, and the setup. Feinting is widely used, not only in personal combat, but also in the large-scale war. The main idea of the feint is to give an empty or false movement. Make the opponent respond and take advantage of the opening his reaction creates. This opening can be anywhere, including the front, side, back, legs, arms, head, etc. Be prepared to respond to any opportunity, not just the one you logically expect to appear. The most common way to create a feinting motion is to make a quick, jerky motion with the hands or feet as you attack. The opponent will be distracted by the motion, assuming it is the point of initiation. While he focuses on your feint, launch your real attack. A similar method is to use your eyes to feint. Look high and attack low, or look low and attack high. This works if the opponent is watching you intently and is therefore deceived by eye movement. Don't depend on this tactic heavily. Use it sparingly. A lesser-known feint is to move unusually slowly and then speed up when your opponent tries to adjust. Create an atmosphere of slowness through your movements. The opponent will assume you are checking his response and will respond in kind. When you see he has psychologically adjusted to the slow movement, attack quickly and without hesitation. Another slow feint is to start a technique slower than normal and then accelerate it as you near the target. Experiment with different combinations of speed and distance. Finally, there is the psychological feint. Trap your opponent into making an incorrect assumption about your condition. If you appear to be tired or injured, he will assume you are defeated and will attack with less than full speed or power. If you look distracted, there will be one of two possible responses by your opponent. Either he will take your distraction as a chance to have a momentary break, or he will attack. If he takes a break, attack immediately. If he attacks, move and counter. Feinting is a delicate balance of physical and psychological deception. It takes a good amount of practice to master it. Being able to portray many different faces in combat gives you an additional edge. Drawing is a similar situation. It's like baiting the hook in fishing. The fish sees only his lunch, not the hook that lies inside. To bait your opponent, intentionally expose a target for him to attack. This can be done by three methods. The first is to assume a vulnerable stance that leaves an opening. Try this in the beginning stages of the fight. Once you have shown your true stance, the opponent is unlikely to believe that it will change. The only exception to this is if you appear tired or hurt. The second draw is to expose a vital point, such as your head, and let the opponent come in. When he commits to a high attack, evade and respond and counter low. Use this formula for high-low, right-left, and back-front attacks. The final case is to step back and let your opponent step forward. As soon as he begins to step in, go in suddenly like a tidal wave. Overwhelm him. Drawing, like painting, requires practice and deception to be effective. Setting up is often confused with drawing or painting. While drawing and painting lure the opponent into your trap, a setup uses the opponent's strength, habit, or preconceived strategy against him. The best way to understand a setup is through examples. If you attack the opponent continuously with a straight punch to the face, he's going to raise his guard, expecting that punches are your only strategy. When he becomes comfortable with this defense, attack with kicks to his legs. Make him create a habit based on your habit, then break your habit first. He will be unable to respond. Another example would be to kick in combinations that give your opponent time to adjust to your kicking style. When he feels confident that he can block your kicks, rush in and throw him to the ground. Your unexpected change of tactics will catch him off guard. Another example of a setup is if you have figured out your opponent, you won't have to spend a lot of time creating a habit or a psychological pattern as in the first two examples. If you know he likes to counter with his right hook kick, give him a short right hook kick to the body. While he is countering with his favorite technique, follow up with a back kick to his groin. This will make him hesitate to use his best skill soon again. Indirect attacking is a more advanced skill than direct attacking. Most beginners learn direct attacks first and then move to indirect attacks at the intermediate or advanced level. Before you try indirect attacks, you must understand the principles of direct attacks. Indirect attacks are based on the anticipation of a direct attack by your opponent. Without knowing what type of direct attack the opponent will use, indirect attacking is not possible. The next principle is establishing your self-confidence. To overcome the surprises and adversity of combat, mental preparation and rehearsal are prerequisites. Psyching up, the development of a positive mental attitude, is necessary for success in combat. The ability to psych yourself up is predicated on certain personal qualities that include determination, discipline, self-reliance, commitment to your goals, inherent motivation, and an optimistic point of view. If you train well every day, you will feel more confident when the time comes to perform. Put 100% effort into every training session and work towards specific objectives. Do not train just for the sake of training. Before each practice, create a training plan. Specify your objectives and how you intend to reach them. Based on this outline, plan specific exercises and drills in the amount and with the intensity necessary to accomplish your daily objectives. Approach training with the same mental and physical attitude as you would approach real combat. You can't take a relaxed approach to training and decide to turn up the intensity only for combat. My first boxing coach told me the best lesson I've ever learned about psyching up for combat. He said, "You will never perform to the level of your expectations. You will always descend to the level of your practice." Truer words have never been spoken. Your daily objectives are based on long-term goals. Take time, at least once a week, to assess how you're progressing towards your long-term goals. If you see a problem with the overall course of your training, correct it immediately. Every goal is accomplished through a series of very small actions, Stick to your daily plans. Revise them when necessary. It is impossible to say, I'm going to psych up now, and do it. Your body and your brain need familiar cues to indicate that physical and mental arousal is about to occur. To facilitate this psyching up on demand, create a simple routine of cues to perform before every practice. Cues are actions that send subconscious messages to the other parts of the body. Consider the elaborate routines that baseball pitchers and hitters go through before they wind up or step up to the plate. These actions make them feel comfortable and help them focus on their performance. You can self-talk. I can do it. I'm ready. I'm the best. You can go through relaxation exercises, stretching, deep breathing, meditation. You can use motivational aids, inspiring music. You can put inspiring quotes on the wall in your practice room and read them before the practice. Do the same exercises before each practice to that inspiring music, like running or jumping rope. And use visualization. See yourself performing the techniques perfectly before you initiate the practice. Whatever cues you select, practice them routinely before each session and feel the power and confidence they give you. Learn to create your own mental space in any surrounding. We've covered a lot of ground, so you have a lot of work to do. Time to get started. I'll see you on the next tape.